Okay, my name's Dennis Allen. I own a small roofing company here in Lincoln, Nebraska called Urethane Contracting Services. Been doing this since 1978. We did the first foam roof in Lincoln, Nebraska, and basically walk through some of the profit potential on three different systems that Conklin has. The first system being their MR system, where we take a metal roof and we seal it up and make it bright white and give them 10-year to 12-year warranties. Depending on the products that are used. We then will talk about a foam system where we can go over metal, wood, old built-up roofs, etc. with the urethane foam and the Conklin coatings. So we'll talk about that application, and then we'll talk about another application where we can take a old weathered EPDM rubber roof and extend its life by turning it white with Conklin's coating, and also seal up any leaks that may be in that particular roof. These will just be some quick job profiles that we've done over the years. The first one is Burns Body Shop. It's a medium-sized roof, 5,600 square feet in Seward, Nebraska. It's an MR job. So what we did up there is we power washed the roof, we caulked all the screw heads on that particular roof, and then we took a fabric reinforced material that Conklin makes called SpunFlex, and we embedded it over all the vertical seams and horizontal seams in the base coat of the Rapid Roof 3 product. After that cured, then we turned the whole thing white. This is actually a job that I turned over to my youngest son Corey, and he did it all because he was a junior at the University of Nebraska at the time. He'd worked with me since he was old enough to walk, and it's a way that he was able to make money to go to college and those types of things. So anyway, the bid was $2 a square foot for that, $11,200. The labor that it took Corey, he hired two of his buddies. They did 3 trips, so they had 36 hours in the project at $20 an hour for a total labor cost of $640. Material that he used, because there were some rusted spots on the roof, he used our Metal Ready, which is a rust inhibiting primer. It's red in color. So he sprayed that, actually brushed that over some of the rusted areas. So he had $35 in Metal Ready. Quick caulk to caulk all the screw heads on that roof. He used 3 2-gallon containers at $61. There's a number of ways to put the quick caulk on. What I have always taught everybody that's worked for me is we use a 2-gallon bucket and a 2-inch paintbrush. You dip in the bucket of caulking and you dab the screw heads, then you come back and you brush them. That ensures that we get the caulking around the neoprene washers that crack and wear out, and it forces it if the screw is a little bit loose that you don't notice, it will actually force that caulking underneath that neoprene washer, underneath that screw, and glue the whole thing together so the screw will never come out. You can do a stand-up daub method with Conklins. They have what's called a fastener grade caulking, but I want my guys to bend over, see every screw, and brush every screw with the caulking. The SpunFlex, we used a 4-inch wide material. This is the 2.5-inch wide. We actually used the wider stuff and covered the screws and the seam on the vertical. So we used 1,863 feet of SpunFlex, which is 19 rolls at $11.25. Rapid Roof 3 base coat, 36 gallons. Since we're only covering the vertical and the horizontal, you're not doing the whole roof, you use about 1/3 of what you would use in top coat. So kind of how I explain to a guy is you figure up your total square footage, you know you're putting on the top coat at 1.9 gallons per square, you'll use about 1/3 of that amount in base coat. We then put Rapid Roof 3 top coat over the whole roof. Miscellaneous, he bought the guy's lunch, he paid for some gas, brushes, rollers. I did not charge him rent on the equipment, so there's no equipment rental in here because it would have been 3 days of rental equipment. Started in the roofing business in 1978. Our first jobs, I had a partner at that time, and for our first jobs, Mark Raymer took one side of Havelock Avenue and I took the other side of Havelock Avenue, and we just walked down the street and asked people if they had roof problems and if they wanted a free bid. And that's basically how we got started. We had no equipment. We had never been trained. I hadn't seen the product. We just knew that Conklin was introducing this roofing system called Rapid Roof back in 1978, actually fall of '77. And Mark and I were selling ag products at that time, and so we didn't have anything to do in the summer months, and so we decided, well, let's start a roofing business. So we did. That first year we did 3 or 4 jobs, made enough money to buy a pickup, ladders, sprayer, basically everything we needed to do small jobs. One of those roofs that we did that year is still currently in good shape today. It's been recoated once. The roofs that we did back then, we used the foam system, which is manufactured, the foam is manufactured by BASF, B-A-S-F. It's a insulation system that you can put over virtually any substrate. The advantages of foam back then and still today is it's seamless, it's sprayed, it's the highest R value of virtually anything that you can put on the market today. It will go over, like I said, virtually any substrate, and we did. We went over tar, we went over metal, we went over virtually any roof out there, new plywood, etc., with the urethane foam. We had to subcontract that because the equipment is fairly expensive to apply the foam system. It'll range from $40,000 to $80,000 for a rig to apply the urethane foam. And then what we did is we then applied the Conklin coatings over top of that. Rapid Roof is a 2-component or two application, 2-coat system. And back then it was white over white, so it was a little hard to see what you're doing. Now we have what's called Rapid Roof 3, which has a tan base coat and a white top coat. So you put the base coat on at 1.9 gallons per 100 square feet, and then you come back and put the top coat on at 1.9 gallons per 100 square feet. And you've got a system that will last 15, 18 years. That particular roof was on Winslow Auto Body. It was recoated about 3 years ago. Up until that time, all it had was just major minor repairs done to it, but about 3 years ago it was bad enough. Well, it was way past. It needed to have been done before, but the building had changed hands 2 or 3 different times, and the new owners came to the realization that, yes, we need to fix these roofs. So they power washed it, caulked any of the major dents, dings, cut out any of the foam that had gone bad over the years from blisters or birds or whatever, and recoated it. It's good for another 15 to 20 years. So that'll be a roof that, as of right now, it's 33 years old, and it'll go for another 15. So it'll be a commercial foam insulated roof that'll be easily last over 45 years before you have to recoat it. And there's no other roofing system out there today, be it the single ply roofs or the built up roofs or the whatever you want to call it, that has that type of longevity and that type of, because the recoat cost was a fraction of what the original cost of the roof was. And so from a long-term standpoint, the foam roof is basically the best roof out there for cost-wise. So anyway, that's what we got started doing. Small equipment, etc. Mark and I, that company grew and grew and grew. Mark's concept of the roofing business was he wanted to become huge. And we did. The name of the company was Protective Coating Specialists. We did everything from 7 acres of Cushman, 7 acres of the Walker plant in Seward to plants all over the United States. And there came a point in time where I had small boys, and I didn't want to be in Georgia, Arkansas, and Louisiana because that's where all these plants were all the time. So I sold my interest in that company to Mark. 2 years after I sold that interest to Mark, he did a 19.2 acre roof for the Ford manufacturing plant in Detroit on the Mustang plant. And he made enough money that he quit roofing, parked all of our equipment that we had out at his farm. He now farms north of Emerald. Still uses the Conklin products, still buys truckloads of fertilizer from us, but made what he wanted to make was he made enough money roofing to farm, and he loves farming, loves cattle. So at that point in time, I started a smaller company called Urethane Contracting Services, because there were 2 things, actually 3 things that I wanted. One is I wanted my 2 boys, Patrick and Corey, I wanted them to learn how to work, because city kids, no offense Jordan, but city kids don't know how to work. And I could see that, okay, they needed to learn that, hey, when you start a job, you finish it. And yet today they still say, yeah, that was probably the best lesson we learned And one of the reasons why they got the jobs that they did is because on their resume they showed that they had started working at a fairly young age and developing a work ethic. Second thing I want to do is I wanted to be able to pay them so that I didn't have to pay Uncle Sam. So basically I paid them enough money so they could buy cars. It was tax deductible to me. They could pay for their college education, and it was tax deductible to me, etc. So we did that all along the way. And then the third thing that I wanted them to do is I wanted them to expose them to a business, an entrepreneur type situation. And basically we met all three of those things while they were working for me during college. Patrick is now an investment banker in Atlanta, Georgia, and Corey is a corporate finance officer, CFO for a small company in Dallas, Texas. So I guess they learned they didn't want to spend the rest of their life on the roof, but they ended up getting there. So from Rapid Roof, from that product, Conklin has developed a whole bunch of other products. They improved Rapid Roof, they made Rapid Roof 2, and then they made Rapid Roof 3. Rapid Roof 3 is the third edition of that product. It's in the line today. It's one of the most economical products that we have for roof coatings. Conklin's coatings are still stretchy. They have elasticity, they have PSI, which is tensile strength, and they are reflective. They're bright white, as you can see from the sample, so they'll reflect 80 to 85% of the sun's rays. Now, when you combine that with the urethane for the insulation and the reflectivity, you get a highly energy efficient roof. So 30 years ago, we were toting green, highly efficient, energy efficient roofs that now everybody wants today. So what we've come along is to the fact that we have something that is still current today, even though we've been doing it for 30 years. Benchmark is their second product. Benchmark has a little less elongation, elasticity than Rapid Roof 3, but it has more PSI. So it's a stronger, more durable product, has basically the same reflectivity, even though it does stay a little whiter and a little bit cleaner than Rapid Roof 3. They then introduced other products. Puma XL is the newest one, and it's the one I'm most excited about. The Rapid Roof 3 and the Benchmark come with 10 to 12-year warranties from Conklin on the material. Non-prorated, 100% if you're warranty trained. The Puma XL has an 18-year warranty. So I don't know of one larger in the industry than what Puma XL has. Puma XL, again, it's more closely cross-linked. It will stay slicker. It has higher tensile strength. It is just a new technology, something that people don't have out there other than Conklin, as far as I know, in that market. Now, we know other people will have. It's just like other people other manufacturers have caught up with us in some of our older generation of coatings, but Puma XL is an amazing coating. It's the one that we're going to be using next year virtually on everything that we do. They also have a product called Equinox. Equinox is a cold weather product. If you have a temperature exterior of at least 35 degrees and the temperature is rising, you can spray Equinox. All of our coatings are water-based. They're acrylic latex. So that's been the drawback in this area in Lincoln, Nebraska, is we always shut down in October, November, and we don't start up until April or so doing it again. But with Equinox, a dedicated roofing contractor could install these products 2 weeks ago when we were having temperatures that we did have here. Equinox is a product that could be used. Now, it's a little more money per cost of material. It's in that with no discounts or training benefits or anything like that, your material cost is about $1.85 a square foot versus $1.10-$1.20 a square foot for Rapid Roof 3. So it's a little more money, but it means that you can actually be doing jobs if you're a dedicated roofing contractor. Let's see. They also have a product called Rapid Roof HV. Rapid Roof HV is a product that is the lowest on the totem pole. It's a good product, but it does not have any fire or UL ratings. So you cannot use it in a municipality or a city that has building codes that call for those types of things. So it's a farm application, it's a rural application type product. Still good, still a good water base bright white acrylic latex, stretchy product, but you cannot use it in a municipality that has fire rating and codes such as that. So those are basically the products that fall into the coatings. Where can you use these products? You can use them on metal roofs. Darn, I forgot I didn't. Where's the metal? There's a metal roof sample. Conklin has what's called the MR system, and you can use Rapid Roof 3, you can use Benchmark, you can use Puma, and take a rusty metal roof that leaks, and you can seal it up and give them a 10-year warranty. High profit application. You don't have to tear the metal roof off. You can go over what's there 90-some% of the time. In fact, last year we did a job that the roof probably should have been torn off, the metal roof. After we got into it and found out how much damage there was, it probably should have been torn off. But we went ahead and fixed it, replaced a bunch of metal, and they have a good roof that will last for quite a while. Not as long as if we had started with a good roof, but long enough that it will be cost effective for them to utilize this thing. Other systems that Conklin has with the coatings is they have what's called the Rapid Ply system. And the Rapid Ply system is, they have this fabric that Conklin manufactures. One of the systems that is the best system that Conklin has is the urethane foam coating systems. The coatings, obviously, as we've talked about on all this stuff, can be applied with a big airless sprayer. The biggest one around is the, well, Graco 733, runs about 10 grand with hose and everything to install this brand new. You can find used rigs at some point in time, some places that you can use to apply the material. The urethane, though, has to be applied by a proportioning unit. What a proportioning unit is, you have a side A and a side B, an iso and a resin, and the proportioning unit takes equal parts, 50-50 of those materials, pumps them through high pressure, a heating system, and then a heated line to a gun that has those two lines come together and go into a mixing area, proportioning area, whatever you want to call that, mixing chamber. Starts to swirl. They hit the surface as a liquid and then rise up, and within 1.5 to 2 minutes you can walk on it. They expand heat, they express heat as that chemical conversion is going on, and you get foam. If things aren't perfect, if you have one component that's not as 50-50, you get bad foam. If you have too cold of a surface you're spraying it to, it doesn't rise. You have bad foam. If you run out of material in either one of the barrels and that one side doesn't get mixed to the gun tip, you have bad foam. So the urethane application is only as good as the applicator. Equipment has come a long ways from when we started 30-some years ago to the new machines today. They're not foolproof, but they're a lot easier to work with. Urethane can be used in a lot of cases. Inside of steel buildings, inside of new homes, on existing roofs, on new roofs, etc. The new jail out here, they had 2 foam machines on that for interior application for almost 2 months. So I don't know how much foam they pumped into that sucker, but they put a lot of foam on the inside of that jail facility. Machine-wise, you can buy each individual component and build your own machine, but there's a company in Minneapolis that will give you your choice of a small trailer, a medium-sized trailer, they're a bumper pull, or a big gooseneck triple axle trailer. Prices will range, I don't know what the smallest one costs because I didn't price it, but I priced the biggest one, and it was about $80,000 to have a complete turnkey rig. You go up there, they show you how to run it. That comes with a 40 kW generator, the air compressor, the guns, the hoses, the insulated trailer, everything. All you have to do is back your dually pickup up to it, dolly it down, and you're ready to go spray foam. So it's a lot different from where it was years ago, where we had to buy individual components, buy a truck, insulate the truck, put the material in. Hopefully everything worked together and went on that. As far as getting in the foam business, it It isn't the easiest business to be in, but it's a relatively profitable business if you bid the jobs right. A lot of people in the beginning, they'll think, well, I got to get this job, so I'll bid it cheap, and that normally doesn't work. But you don't want to price yourself out of the area either. We've got a competitor here in Lincoln that has forced us to reduce some of our prices because he's just cheap. Seems to do a pretty good job, uses all of the same materials that we use, but he's cheaper than me. So I've had to reduce my prices on 3 different jobs to be competitive and get the projects from him. That said, the reason we don't see a lot of contractors getting into this is, number one, we didn't have the housing market like we do today. There are a lot of new homes that get the urethane applied into it. You can't put it in a retrofit situation in older homes, so you need new home construction. New home construction is kind of slowed down, but when it does pick up, this is the insulation of choice in my book for a new home construction. Also, we're going to see more because there's tons of metal buildings being built. Farmers have had some good years. They're going to continue to have some good years. Every farmer and his dog is putting up a new building. So there's going to be a lot of insulation applications for not only fixing up their older buildings, but also if they didn't order an insulation package with the new buildings, of insulating the new building down the road. So there's stuff opportunity that wasn't there 5-10 years ago that is now there today for making money with a foam machine. But if you've got $60,000 invested in that machine, you've got to do some work to keep it busy. So the profit potential of interior work and inside of buildings or inside of new houses, you don't make as much per square foot on those jobs as you do on roofing. Roofing is more profitable from a urethane application. So you have to do more of those types of jobs to pay for a machine than you do in a roofing application. Also in a roofing application, if you miss something and you screw up, it can bite you in the butt. And roofs can cost you money rather than you making money on roofs. So, but even I screw up after 30-some years. Get in a hurry and forget to do something that you know you should do.